So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seat, and thank you very much. This is yet another session at the SDG Media Zone. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor and a pleasure to moderate this session. It's actually going to be a real treat for you for the very simple reason that I think in the past couple of days, the various different sessions that you have heard here on the SDGs were all about how the SDGs can be implemented at the various different national levels, local levels, and this time what we're going to hear from our distinguished panel is indeed how this is done in practice. We are going to focus on probably the very first and only subnational government level implementation of the SDGs. This is going to be the launch of an SDG report by the Kaduna state in Nigeria. My name is Janos Tyszowski. I'm the acting director of the strategic communications of the Department of Public Information, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be here. The distinguished panel that we have here with us, who will brief you a little bit about what they have been up to when it comes to the implementation, or we can actually say the localization and domestication of the SDGs in Kaduna State, is Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Budget and Planning for Nigeria. It's an honor to have you here, Your Excellency. We have Barnabas Yusuf Bala, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Nigeria. And we have Mohammed Sani Abdullahi, the Commissioner for Planning and Budget in Kaduna State, Nigeria. And congratulations to both of you, gentlemen, for the wonderful report. And of course, from the United Nations, we have the Resident Coordinator in Nigeria, and that's Mr. Edward Kaloun. Thank you very much all for being here. Before I give you the floor, we will have a short video, and then you will have a chance to say a few words. Please. You can clap. Thank you very much. And if I may ask, Madam Minister, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure for me to be here today. Let me congratulate Kaduna State for being the first to produce such an SDG report. We're here today because we collectively recognize the importance of our commitment to implement the SDGs at a national level, and also that we are committed collectively as a nation to transition towards sustainable and resilient development while ensuring that no one is left behind. During the transition between the MDGs to the SDGs, the transition team at that time stressed the need for successful integration of the SDGs into national and subnational and local development plans. And I'm glad that today is a testimony that this is happening at the subnational level. The essence is for us to establish an institutional framework that ensures coordination and knowledge transfer during the whole of the process of the implementation. In our ministry, we made sure that while we were preparing the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, that the SDGs were fully integrated. And the intention for us is to make sure that we adopt an all-government approach. All government means government at the state, at the federal level, the state level, as well as the national level, because that's the only way we can attain the SDGs, the goals of the SDGs as a nation. Specifically, we ensured that The Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which is a four-year medium-term plan, launched by Mr. President on the 5th of April, had every one of the 17 goals integrated. And when we received a copy of the plan of Kaduna, we also noted that they had made sure that the SDGs were fully implemented in the plan. This gives us hope that government, both at the state and the federal level, will focus their development efforts into prioritizing targeted projects that will be aimed at achieving the SDG goals. And this is in a national context, with the states driving the effort and the federal government providing some support and direction. So it's really a pleasure today. I'm glad that Kaduna State also has set up a very robust statistical agency, because data is important, that they have developed this baseline so it will now be easy to monitor the implementation of the SDGs, because it is said what is measured gets done. So if we don't measure it, it will not be done. So I'm glad that from the get-go you have a very clear set of baseline indicators that will now become easy for us to monitor how progress is being made. Congratulations, Kaduna State.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Now let me ask first the Governor and the Commissioner to say a few words about the actual meat to the bone, how all of this target setting, how the data collection and all of that came about, and basically you were able to come up with this, first of its kind report for a state government.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe before I say something about that, I would want to say something in addition to what the Honorable Minister has said regarding the relationship at the federal level and at the state level. There is, of course, the Presidential Committee on the implementation of the SDG, which takes the states along in the planning and execution. And it is through that structure that we ensure the relationship that is required for us to have the synergy in terms of implementation between the states and at the federal level. Secondly, what I want to say about Kaduna State is that we are coming in with a number of experiences that we are leveraging on to ensure what we are here today to show the world. First of all, our political agenda, clearly encompasses quite a number of, not all of them, but quite a number of the goals. We also have the political commitment and zeal from the leadership of the state. We have a governor who is committed towards implementation of our political agenda, and by extension the SDGs, which are a part of it. We are also leveraging on our experience in the implementation of the MDGs, which of course was an unfinished business. But we also had the opportunity to have one of the Millennium Villages within Kaduna State. And that was more of a success story because what is necessary, which is to put the people in the center of driving the process and taking ownership in order to guarantee sustainability, that was achieved at that level. So these experiences put together have enabled us to ask the relevant question: where are we after 2015 with the exit from the MDGs? Consequently, we, like the Minister has said, and which of course will be further explained by the Honorable Commissioner, we thought what is necessary first of all is to give the data. Where are we, the baseline? Where are we after the implementation of the MDGs? That we are doing through a robust system of through the Bureau for Statistics, which the governor is funding adequately. And we also have a clearly designed state development plan from which we have the various sector implementation plans. And this clearly captures the provisions of the SDGs. What we are doing is to ensure that our development partners, our international partners, and the civil society and the rest can have something which says quite clearly what their entry points if they choose to be part of it. And of course, we are inviting everyone to be part of it. And that is what the report is all about. It contains, of course, our state development plan. It contains where we are and the necessary policy decisions that we need to take in trying to getting to achieve each of the goals.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Janos. I think His Excellency has captured it pretty well. When the SDGs were launched in September 2015, for us that was more like the whistle being blown for a race over the next 15 years to be able to achieve development for our communities. But one of the major things that we saw as an obstacle to this development was the absence of the data points that would give us the good baseline to prepare our policies. And so right from November 2015, we commissioned probably what was the first household survey in the state that looked at 255 wards, 3,200 households. And we went around and did a socio-economic survey of those households. That was the first sort of data gathering exercise that we went on. So after that, we invested heavily in the statistical agency of the state to produce much more data that would look at some of the SDG indicators. We're able to do a school census. We've done 2 already. We've done an agricultural structure survey. We've done a GDP survey of the state. All these are unprecedented at a subnational level. So when we had all this data in the middle of 2017, we decided to go on a second round. So what we're able to do with that is to compare data from 2015 and 2017 and compare it with the policy actions that we have. And as His Excellency has mentioned, over the last 2 years, what we've done is also to look at the policy angle, to take the SDGs in their whole and domesticate it in a sustainable, in a state development plan. And then once we had the state development plan, all the sectors also created step-down policies that integrated the plans. And if you see the roller banner right behind you, it looks at each SDG has a document that looks at that particular sector and what that sector is going to do to achieve it. So when we put all this together, we realized that more or less we could speak very well about where Kaduna State is today on the SDGs. And this is what we've put together today. It is to provide all of us, the state first, with a good platform to move forward over the next few years towards 2030, but also to provide a credible baseline for our own partners when they look at the agenda to see where they can key in. Despite the level of investment that we've been able to put, we've only been able to identify 32% of the SDG indicators. And this is what the work is going forward, to fill up these and to identify more basis for evidence.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Commissioner. And let me, last but not least, of course, turn to the resident coordinator and ask Mr. Kaloun, what was the role of the UN in all this?
Yeah, I mean, what Kaduna State is doing today is the classical demonstration of the key ingredients of the Sustainable Development Goals. And what you're seeing here is a demonstration of a national vision, national leadership, and national ownership. I think that is quite critical. Our role as the United Nations is to ensure that we provide the required technical, policy, and advisory services that are required to support the administration of Kaduna to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. But in doing this, we are also conscious of the fact that there is need for an empirical base to keep monitoring and reporting on progress that has been made. And that is the strategic milestone that has been done by the Kaduna State by putting in place a data set that will become very critical in monitoring progress in implementation of the goals. I also want to allude here that, I mean, it's a long journey they have embarked on. There is need to look at issues of effective coordination, both between and within the various local administrative architectures in Kaduna to support these ambitious objectives they have set out for themselves. There is also the need to keep on working on strengthening partnerships. Partnerships here, I mean, a conscious effort to try to engage North-South, South-South, and triangular cooperation to bring in the required support that they need to implement the SDGs. So in short, this is a demonstration of one of those strategic milestones that have been taken by the Kaduna State to actually translate the SDGs into instruments that we work towards implementing the development aspirations of that state. I want to end by also noting that there is a logical vertical and horizontal linkages to support this ambition. One between the state and the federal structure, and between the state and the local government structures. These vertical and horizontal linkages are so critical because when you look at policy formulation at the federal level, domesticating those policies at the state levels are so critical to guide implementation of the SDGs. And the federal government has already set the tone, and you heard that from the Honorable Minister on working on the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which has also adopted the SDGs as part of the framework to monitor the implementation of that plan. So I think it's all starting in the right direction. I want to end on a very subtle note. I mean, what inspires me in Nigeria is that whatever small we do in Nigeria, we do it for the whole sub-region and Africa. So whatever Kaduna is doing today is a milestone, I'm sure, that will be emulated, not only by other states in Nigeria, but for the sub-region and Africa at large. So bravo to Kaduna.
We have 2 minutes left, as I was told. So very briefly, you wanted to just jump in and...
Well, let me say that the most excited of all of us, going by the comments that we have just listened to from the UNDP representative, we are here to showcase what the state is doing to show its level of preparedness as a subnational government. Because without the activities of the subnational government, it would be very difficult to get an aggregate result that will move us as a nation forward in the attainment of the SDGs. And like I said, I'm happy to hear that we are going in the right direction. We've also always thought so, but it's good to hear from him. And with that, I want to call on all our partners, development partners and international partners. I want to present to you our invitation that we are open to a partnership to accelerate our achievements of the SDGs. With that, I wish to invite all of us to be part of this, and which I believe our success provides the platform for other subnationals. It's a journey that we are going to embark on together with others. Thank you very much.
Deputy Commissioner, thank you very much. Madam Minister, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deputy Governor. And thank you very much, of course, to the resident coordinator. I encourage all of you to pick up a copy of the report, read it. It's also very, very interesting to see the 4 policy priorities that are listed at the end, because I think they are also priorities that will help implement the SDGs, not just for not just for Kaduna State, not just for other states in Nigeria, but I think a good pilot and lesson learned for many other countries who are going to localize and domesticize the SDGs. Thank you very much. Thank you.